So Kiyoshi Kurosawa has a new film, and it is the hardest film of the year to get. And when I say that, I do not mean the plot or the story. I am talking about actually watching this movie, getting it on your television. Why they made it like this is like one of the worst things I've ever seen, and I want nothing to do with this in the future. So there's usually, you rent something on VOD, you go to the movie theater to see it, or you buy a physical copy. Those are your typical options to watch a film. Well, they said, fuck that. We're going to do something way dumber. So have you ever heard of NFTs?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is DVTs, which stands for Digital Video Trading. And they are putting out a certain number of copies to be purchased by whoever. And then they can go and put that out for people to rent a copy from them. They own the copy, the rights to it, and then you can rent it from them. And they can put whatever price they want for the rental.
So crazy. Such a weird concept. And
so dumb.
I really don't like it.
I don't know if Kiyoshi was involved in this. I don't know if this was like he was approached, or if his distribution manager, or however the hell it works, was like, this is how it's going.
Right.
I would like to know how he feels about this, because making his new film, it's only 45 minutes long, so it's hard to call it a film. It's more like an episode of a show. But I would be curious to know what he thinks of this approach to releasing films, because this is just awful.
Yeah, I think it makes it very inaccessible for a lot of people, and I definitely don't like the idea of films being treated this way in the future.
Yeah. So, okay. Putting that aside, let's talk about the very short movie at 45 minutes. As far as what this is about, it's about a culinary arts teacher, and he has a student, and his student hears a chime that no one else hears.
Yep.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Okay, so this is definitely one of the more like reserved, subtle films that I've watched this year, which isn't surprising. You know, obviously he did Pulse, he did Cure, and Pulse is something that we revisited fairly recently. And I was kind of like, whatever, the first time I watched it. But the most recent time we watched it, which is only my second viewing ever, I thought it was like a 10 out of 10, like fucking masterpiece. Like blew me away. I didn't realize like how fucking good it was until I watched it again. It's like, it's definitely like a top 10 atmospheric film.
Oh my god, yeah.
The atmosphere
easily.
in that movie is, I mean, it's arguably the best atmosphere I've ever seen in a movie.
It's insane.
What I should say is like, I don't think it could be topped. So there's like,
there's kind of a bar.
There's a tier
set
level,
already,
right?
Yeah.
And it's like, certain films hit that tier level of atmosphere. And that's at that 10 out of 10 atmosphere level that I just don't think you could exceed. So he knows how to build atmosphere, obviously. And this film has great ambiance, great atmosphere as well. Not that level, but there's just such an unsettling nature to the film, and it's because it is a very quiet film that does no hand-holding. It's very ambiguous with things, and you are kind of left in the dark on a lot of things, and that might frustrate people, right? There's going to be something like somebody screams, we never see what it is, that kind of stuff where you're like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not for everyone. I definitely think that there will be, if you are not a fan of like Pulse or Cure, then this one will, not do anything new for you.
I'm going to say 50-50 split, even on the people who like his work.
Maybe.
Because it's short and because it's like very ambiguous. I don't know. And very slow. And, for a 45-minute movie, they try to pace these better because of that. But
no, I mean, I really loved this. I thought it was great. I think that he is just so masterful with atmosphere. And I think that that's evident in the other two films that we talked about. But with this one, I love the style. I think that, I like how ambiguous it is. I like kind of not knowing what's happening because it makes it even scarier. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a really artfully done ambiguity. We've watched and talked about many films where we're confused or lost or like unsure about what's happening, and it hurts the film because we don't have enough information. But in this case, it's something that really elevates it and does enhance the eeriness. I was a big fan. There's a lot of moments where, characters do various things, and I'm like, why are they doing that? That's, like, really creeping me out. I don't like it. Yeah, there's something with cans, and I'm like, what does that mean? What's happening?
I have no idea what that means.
But it's so unsettling. It's so unsettling. It really reminds me, too, of, like, Junji Ito. It has a similar kind of... And I think that that's really just the vibe of some Japanese horror, which is why I like it so much. There's just something to it, and I don't know. It's hard to kind of label it in one go, I feel. Because I do think that some of it has to do with just, like, Japanese culture in general and how it is projected through, like, horror and the views of horror. But I loved it. I thought it was great. I definitely am sad that it's hard to get, though. Like, that's a huge bummer. Yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely something we wanted to track down after we had watched Cure and Pulse this year, I want to say. At least within the last year.
Well, Cure we might have watched
this
year,
Cure
but I think
year,
Pulse
sure.
we watched last year. But we've been talking about rewatching Cure as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we will. But... as far as, like, who this is for, once again, I just think that if you're somebody who wants things to be shown and seen and you're, like, somebody who does not enjoy things being left for the imagination, some people thrive in that kind of condition where they're like, my mind is scarier. But it's how it's presented, I think, is always key, right? My complaint for the film, for sure, is not so much in what it doesn't show, because I liked all of that. Yeah. That's all fine and well. But there isn't enough of the movie. It's not that there's not enough of what is going on. It's just that the film is too short.
Yeah, I would have liked more time.
So if this would have been a full 90-minute feature with this exact story... I would have preferred that for sure, because I want to know, I want to see, I shouldn't say see more, but like I want to be in it longer.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I definitely would love to
because there's more to do here.
Totally. I definitely think there could have been more.
This could have been part 1 of 2 to like make a whole film out of it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
it's good as is.
Totally.
But I wanted more, which I guess is a good thing. But,
yeah, I think ultimately it's a good thing.
But if you're going to set up this world and you're going to set up these questions, and I'm going to be sitting here like, what does that mean? What does this mean? There's quite a few questions.
It seems very, similar to Pulse and Cure. It's the same kind of thing where I feel like you get explanations and answers sort of in those movies, but you really, so much is left up to the viewer.
Sure, but we live in those universes longer.
Yeah, no, I agree with you though.
So there's more breadcrumbs for me to follow, as to where with this one, our Chime character, I have no idea, and there's other things that happen after that, and it's kind of like a out of nowhere thing, and you're like, why did that happen? And I feel like pretty much every single thing in the film is a question mark. I don't know if there's an explanation for literally anything. So that's going to frustrate people as well.
Yeah, no, I can totally see this movie just not vibing with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
It's a very quiet, very reserved, very subtle film that doesn't really show anything. It doesn't explain anything. So it's an artsy, atmospheric romp. And that's either going to vibe with you or it's not. If you're a fan of his work, you know what to expect to a degree. But even more lessened than that because it's half the length, and we don't see anything. So yeah, I don't know. That doesn't sell it super well, but I think for the audience that it will sell to, they get what I'm saying, and they're gonna jump on it.
Mm-hmm, I think so.
But it's gonna be hard. I mean, to track this down, you're gonna have to go to like I think what's the website? Roadstead.io. So lame. You have to click on the rental button. It has all the copies like on there, and then you can spend from 450 yen, which is $3.15, all the way up to 100,000 yen, which is $700.
I don't understand.
And there's only
why.
60 number available for rent. I think 60 is how many rentals they have.
It's crazy.
Like available, and you have to like make an account and sign in.
It's an involved process.
It's ridiculous.
For sure. So that's a big shame.
So this is something that I would rarely ever say this, but if you have access to like, torrenting, I'd go that route with something like this because they're purposely making this impossible for you to get, and it just feels like aggravating. It's like, come on.
Yeah, it might be easier to explore other means. So.
I don't want to reward it. That's the thing. I don't want people to go support this because this shouldn't be a thing. Right? We need to like put our foot down and be like, we're not renting this fucking movie. In fact, if I never saw this movie just so that they never did this again, I'd be down for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would suck not to watch it, but this is kind of unacceptable to me because I don't see this as a good thing for film.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you want to buy a physical copy of it, fine.
Oh, sure. That's different if it's like you can only get it by purchasing a physical copy.
Yeah.
To me, that's different because you own it. But this is like you're renting it, and the price is so wildly different because it's based on what the owner of that digital copy sets
sure,
it at.
because like once all of them are sold out, they could, conspire together.
Sure,
and be like, it's $1,000 a rental now, and if you don't like it, get bent. And it's like, well, I'm glad we have torrenting. I don't ever torrent, but in these kinds of rare cases, it's like, no, we're not setting that precedence. For me, it's all about sending a message and saying, absolutely not. This is not an acceptable way, because if this was to catch on, if they were to start to do this with tons of movies of ours, oh hell no.
Yeah.
That would make me want to like get out of watching movies. I'd be like, all right, you guys have fucked up films for us.
We're just gonna watch all the old stuff we already own.
Right. This is as dumb as NFTs.
Yeah.
Just so dumb. What a dumb concept. Boo to that concept. Yay to the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we sought it out, but never again.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right. We'll see you in the comments.
Bye.